Welcome to the Top Dog Mindset Podcast, where we unlock the secrets of running a successful dog training business. I'm your host, Kevin, joined by my co-host, Angel. Together, we bring you expert insights, inspiring stories, and practical tips. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're here to provide you with the necessary information to build a thriving dog training company. So relax, join us with a cup of coffee as we explore the Top Dog Mindset Podcast. All right, welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
So we had to take a couple week break here, but we're back and we're excited to get things rolling again. So just to kind of kick things off, we felt like a topic that is always at the forefront for ourselves and all of our customers is just the importance of communication. And so today we really want to dive into this and talk about it from a more of an analytical perspective than just a what would you say? Just like a emotional perspective, saying like, hey, I feel like it's important to communicate with my customers or answer my phone or respond to emails quickly and stuff like that. But I really want to dive into some numbers here because this was really staggering to me and shocking to me when I looked at these. And I've been talking to a couple of our clients about it. And so I feel like when the numbers are just put in black and white and there really is no disputing it, it just makes it super simple and digestible for all of us. So, Angel, with that being said, before I go into the numbers or anything like that, is there anything you want to add to that or start off by saying?
Yeah, I feel like this particular topic we've touched on a lot. But like you said, a lot of the time it's more so from like an emotional aspect or like even just like case studies from our very successful clients and stuff like that. But I think just like for those who are slight skeptics or for those who are still doing the things that we are trying to help fix, I think it's good for us to come, from a different perspective as far as like statistics and stuff like
Yeah.
that to help
Yeah.
people see like, it's not just, things based on my experience or your experience or our successful clients' experience. Like these are facts, no matter the business that you're in, these are facts.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just gonna say this about this. And we were joking before this call. I'm trying this whole thing on, right? Where I'm trying to not trying to, get away from the whole nice guy syndrome a little bit, where it's like sometimes it's easy to be able to just say to people, but like, hey, you didn't answer your phone. It's okay. I know it's hard and stuff like that. I just want to start off by saying this. The data and science behind this is so unbelievably clear that trying to dispute it is literally trying to dispute that the sky is blue. Like it's that silly to me to be like talking about like, well, I feel like the people who don't leave a voicemail or don't follow up with a text or an email, they're just not serious clients. Like there's all these crazy things when you're a busy business owner and I understand you're busy training dogs, you can start telling yourself all these these things that are just outright kind of not true, right? And so that's why I think talking about the numbers here is so powerful. So just to kind of kick this off, right? Most business communication still happens over phone calls, right? They say 80% of business communication happens over phone calls. So that is an interesting statistic because if you're somebody who doesn't want to get on calls with people, that right there is a problem in and of itself because people expect to be able to talk to somebody over a call, right? So
Mhm.
if you're somebody who doesn't feel comfortable talking over the phone, the truth is you need to get comfortable talking over the phone, right?
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
second thing, or go ahead, Angel, what
And
were you going to say about that?
yeah, I just want to say something about that too, is like not everyone has a facility, right?
Hmm.
So the phone is literally the only way that people are going to be able to reach you. Even for those who do have a facility, in today's day and age, like using Google, using the phone, people are always going to use that first.
Yeah.
Rarely are you going to have someone or, all of your leads just show up at your facility to inquire about training.
Yeah.
Like it's 2025 and we're just not really doing that anymore.
Yeah. And how would
So
they even know about you anyway? Like, how do they get the consult book to start doing training if they never talk to you over the phone?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's like again, there's all these crazy things, and you can start convincing yourself of things that are just outright not true. And so I think that's something you need to be very vigilant of. And even speaking from personal experience, you can slip into these habits and this mindset, and then if you take a second to audit it, you're just like, okay, that was kind of a little bit um, stupid, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So with that being said, the first thing I think is really important here, right? 60% or 67% of customers will hang up if they can't reach a real person. People expect quickness in personal responses, right? So if your phone is not ringing, like people will just hang up, and the vibe I get from that is I'm just going to hang up and I'm just going to call the next person. And what
Hmm.
I always tell all of our clients is it should be heartbreaking to you. If you're serious about running a business, if somebody calls you, you don't answer and they call somebody else, and then you say, reach out to them a day later and they're like, hey, we found somebody. We're actually getting started with them. We'll definitely keep you posted if we ever need your help. That's
Yeah.
that is like something to me. Like if that happens to me, which it has happened to me in the past, like I feel like I had my heart ripped out of my chest. It's like, wow, I just couldn't do this little thing to make in some cases two, three, $4,000. You just let it walk away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it's helpful to kind of think of like think of yourself in like put yourself in those same shoes, inquiring about other services. I think we've all done this. I do this all the time. Like if I'm looking for, let's say, someone to come out and clean the carpets in my house, unless I have like this one business that I use all the time and it's maybe the first time that I'm hiring someone, I'm going to go on Google. I look for, the first company that pops up. I call them. If they don't answer, I'm going to go to the next one. I call them. If they don't answer, I go to the next one.
Yeah.
I'm just going to call around until I find someone that can come out as soon as possible, much less someone who just answers the phone and has a conversation with me to give me information or figure out what I need to do to get the information.
Totally, totally. And ironically enough, we actually have a guy that cleans carpets. So shout out to Shaka in New Jersey. If anyone needs a carpet cleaner,
You
hit up the
know,
Shaka.
Same. I have one company specifically that I use, and if they don't answer, I just leave them a voicemail. That was just the best example I could
Please
use.
call me back. I don't trust anybody else. Um, so the next thing on here is 85% of callers will not call back if their call goes unanswered. A missed call is often a missed customer. So think about that. 85% of customers, if you do not answer the call, are not going to wait for you, right? And they're not going to call you back, right? So like it's now on you to chase them down and cross your fingers and hope that you can get in touch with them. And what I always say to everybody when they say to me, well, some of these people that they called me, and when I called them back, I'm like, stop right there. Stop right there. Why are you calling them back? Why are you ever even putting yourself in that situation in the first place? you know, Again, I'm not trying to oversimplify this and make it seem like every call should be answered and stuff like that. There's going to be instances where you really can't get to it. But the main thing I really want to express on this call is like a really smart hire for all of us is if your business entirely runs off of it is important for me to answer calls, set consultations, make sales, then hire somebody to answer the phones, right? There's so many different resources out there. I mean, you could even hire call answering services. I would recommend that you hire a virtual assistant before you do that, someone who's dedicated to working in your business. There's a great website. It's called overpass.com, Overpass VAs or something like that. You can hire people for like $5 to $10 an hour, and they are based in Central South America, and they'll answer your phone calls and do other tasks that you train them on. Get them a good script, hire somebody that's like really friendly, and they can just set appointments on your calendar for you to either go and do the consultation or to take the phone calls.
Yeah, and I'll add something to that too. Granted, this is more from like personal experience, and I know that we're trying to talk from like a statistical standpoint, but
Yep.
I have had so many people when I was training, of course, where I would answer the phone and within the first like 20 seconds, they thank me for answering the phone. And
Yeah.
they're happy that they finally got to talk to someone.
Mm-hmm.
There's some cases where I did have to call them back. But that was, pretty much before or like right after the phone started ringing, called them back immediately. But people
Yeah.
always said, I'm so glad that you answered the phone. And they would tell me
100%.
a lot of the time, like they had called other places. And the reason why they eventually got to me was because no one was answering the phone. Like that is something that I heard all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I've said this before on one of these calls, I think multiple times now. I think it's worth repeating that if you want to know the number one way to differentiate yourself from your competitors, answer your phone. Most people do not do that. And you'll hear that exact thing from people like, wow, I didn't expect somebody to answer, you know? Hey, I called through other places and nobody answered. And then like you're the one who's going to get the business. So much of this is just like going to college and a big part of your grade is attendance. So much of your success in your business is just about showing up and being there to talk to, leads and customers and stuff like that when they first come in. So
Mhm.
again, it's worth repeating. Like if you find yourself saying that a lot, right? These people aren't calling me back or they're not answering when I call them back. It's like they're just returning the favor that you gave to them. You know what I mean? And so it's like it's very easy for us as business owners to think that like the this is going to sound dramatic, but I think it's true that the world revolves around us. Like we have a lot going. I'm busy. I have a lot going on. Everybody is like the main character in their own life. You know what I mean? Like everybody thinks the world is just like revolving around them. And without trying to sound very selfish by saying that, but everyone just has all their own stuff going on. So when you call them back, it's not like you are this extremely important, pressing thing to them. They have 50 other things that are going on, you know? And so
Yeah.
just like don't put yourself in that position where you need to call them back and then you get upset because they don't answer. It's like just don't even do that in the first place. Just answer the phone, avoid that whole thing.
Yeah.
The next thing is 76% of customers expect a business to answer within 3 rings. Thoughts?
Um, I feel like all of this goes hand in hand with each
Hmm.
other, but I like this especially, I feel like goes hand in hand with what I was saying before of like it's 2025. Google is everyone's best friend. Google is how, people even like, ordering groceries and stuff like that, ever since COVID, especially, like no one goes out to do anything. We just
Yeah.
get on the phone and we handle all of that. So when you have a list of places that you can call, people are going to be a little bit more or a little less patient, right?
Yeah.
And also to add to that, AI obviously is a very, very popular thing to use
Hmm.
nowadays and can be very helpful in some cases. Granted, it shouldn't be something that, completely takes over answering your phone. I know some people use it. But even with that, like let's say you had like an AI system that answered the phone within 3 rings, like one of the things you mentioned was people wanting to talk to a real person.
Yeah.
Like fact of the matter is just like answer as quick as possible. But if it's something where they can hang up and they can just call the next person and speak to a real human being, like that next business has a bigger chance of making that sale than you really ever did.
Yeah, 100%. I had somebody one time I did a sales call and I kind of I think I turned them away because I was like, this is not going to work if you just are like what he said to me was like I was talking about the importance of customer service, setting consultations, making sales, answering your phone, all that stuff. And he says to me, "Man, you're really big on this whole phone thing, huh?" And I was like, I'm trying really hard to not burst out laughing at that statement right now. It's like I'm big on this whole phone thing, like Alexander Graham Bell would be rolling around in his grave. It's like it was literally something that revolutionized like the entire world. It's
Mhm.
somebody it's a way that somebody is able to hear your voice and speak to you in a matter of seconds. It's your entire business. It's not this like whole phone thing. It's literally your entire business. There is no dog training without this whole phone thing. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that just because I thought that was funny. But all right, so the next thing is let's talk about impact. So missed calls cost small businesses an average of $2,400 per lead. And this is across, just small business trends altogether. And I'm sure that includes dentists, plumbers, chiropractors, everybody, right? Dog trainers. But I think that this is pretty much spot on for dog trainers. You think about when people sell board and trains, what they're typically selling them for, it's anywhere from 2 to 4 or 5 grand. So every time you do miss a call, right, it can literally be that much money walking away from you.
Yeah. And I think that really helps like for people to put it into perspective of like, I've gotten especially when they've gotten a certain amount of leads in a week or a month or whatever it is and only made a certain amount of sales.
Yeah.
And we often have to point those things out to them, like, listen, you've gotten, like, look how many leads you've gotten. It's harder like when you're the one taking the calls every day and then just like writing them off as like tire kickers and this and that,
Hmm.
or kind of like labeling them as people not being serious and stuff like that. But when you like really take a look at the numbers and you've got X amount of leads and you've only made X amount of sales, and then you like break down the conversion rate and stuff like that, I feel like just like that helps put it into perspective too, of like just one missed call you said was $2,400, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
imagine if your average program was $4,500. Like that's even more than
Yeah.
that statistic.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's mind blowing, when you think about this, that like here's some other interesting stuff. I'm going to put two of these together because I think they go together. 70% of missed calls turn into a lost customer. And that feels very accurate to me. That if you miss the call, you're just 70%. You have a 30% chance at that point of turning them into a customer. You probably have a 30% chance of getting them back on a call with you. And
Yeah,
then what is the chance out of that 30% what percentage of that actually signs up into a customer, you know?
yeah, exactly.
Businesses that answer their phone convert 30 to 50% more leads than those that rely on like callbacks, digital forms, and stuff like that.
Yep.
Think about it this way: somebody who's willing to pick up their phone and call you right now, they are ready for help right now. Assuming that they're going to be in that same mental state in 30 minutes a day, every single day that goes by. I mean, there's something, I know I've said this before, there's something referred to as the law of diminishing intent. Every single second, minute, hour, day that goes by, the intent, like, I want to get my dog trained. Okay, I don't talk to a dog trainer, I don't get started, right? An hour just goes down. 12 hours goes down a day. It's like all of a sudden they just start telling themselves like, do I really need that? Do I, that whole, did I blow that out of proportion? So it's just so important. Like they're ready now. You need to honor that they're ready to get started out. Talk to them now. If you can talk to them now, they'll probably sign up.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that myself of like being on the phone, like that initial phone call with people where they're like they've absolutely had it, or
Yeah.
they're on the verge of tears, or even in tears, and they're like wanting to get rid of their dog.
Yeah.
Like I'm in that like super emotional, vulnerable moment with them. And then
Hmm.
by the time I go in for the consultation, they've calmed down a little bit. Not all
Yeah.
of them. Some of them are still like on the verge of insanity because of their dog's behavior.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes, there's been times where they're feeling better about it and they're like, "Oh, I just had a really bad day," or "He just really set me over the edge that day."
Yeah.
And if that would have been the time that they got a call back, they could have been lost, but I'm already in there for the consultation, and I was able to use that as an opportunity to like not necessarily bring them back to that very emotional time,
Hmm.
but also kinda
Yeah. You
like
want to like break their spirits, like you want to
beat
really
them
like
beat
have
them
them.
down a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. An emotional breakdown, nervous breakdown, that's a good thing. That's kind of like what you want to have happen. I'm only kidding around, but listen to this one. 82% of customers expect an immediate response when they call. That's an interesting one. 82% of people, like to put that into context, here's what's happening. 82% of people, when they call you, if you don't answer, they're like, the hell?
Hmm.
This business didn't answer the phone. Like that's freaking annoying. You know what I mean? Like that's the way that people feel. And I can tell you, maybe I'm just like kind of an impatient a-hole. You know what I mean? But if I call a business and like they just don't respond to me, I'm like, that sucks. That's annoying. I want like your business hours say 9 to 5. You're open right now. Why are you not answering? And I think
Yeah.
if anyone's being honest about this, like we all probably feel that way. And I think that just is right in the numbers here that 82% of people expect that response. Go
Yeah.
ahead,
I've
Angel. Am I a total asshole about that or what?
No, you're not. I also am an asshole because I was going to say I've been that person where I've
Hmm.
gotten a call back from a business and I'm like, well, I already found someone.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, thank you for the call back. I already scheduled something, but let me also schedule something with you. It's just I'm automatically like, nope, I already found someone. You were too late.
Yeah. 100%. And I just want to go back to something I said before too about hiring somebody. A lot of times what business owners will say is like, I don't have the money to hire somebody, right? And so what they'll do is they won't hire anybody. They'll let their phone calls keep going to voicemail, and then they don't sign as many people up and stuff like that. And what you're really doing is being penny wise and pound foolish. Added to the list. I don't think that made that last time,
It did,
but
actually.
okay, I had to revisit it. I can't even remember what's on there. But you're being penny wise and pound foolish in the regard that like you're trying to save a nickel, and in reality you're losing out on like $1,000. It's like you could have somebody who's answering your calls, setting consultations for you, even potentially doing sales for you, and selling programs that are worth 4,000, $5,000 in some cases, and you pay them $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month or whatever it is, and it allows you to grow your business, grow your team, hire people and stuff like that. So I'll never forget in the group that this is posted in the dog trainer community, I posted a question when I first started it, and I don't even remember who said this, but if you see this, whoever posted this, and or whoever posted on my post, you said something along the lines of, um, my first hire in my business I made was a mar or a like an office assistant or something like that, and it was the best decision I ever made. And I think that what that comes down to is some people will really benefit from an office manager type of person, and some people will really benefit from hiring a trainer first, because some people are really good at answering their calls, and they have that personality type where they can manage the business really well. Some people are really good trainers, they're good entrepreneurs, but they're not type A personalities, and they really struggle with that stuff. And so, what I'm really saying in this really long roundabout way is that if you hire somebody and they're good and you spend the time training them to answer calls and help you with that stuff, it'll probably result in like a 10x ROI. You'll pay them $1,000 a month, and it'll probably help you make an extra 10,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think people forget that. Like they just think like, I'm where I'm at in my business and I can't afford to dish out more money for help. But it's like the whole point of having help is to
To
grow
make
your
more money.
business and to make more. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. You can't do everything yourself. That's just a
Mhm.
fact. As much as we all like to think we can, that's a game changer when you finally get somebody like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. I lost my place. Did I say this one already? Companies that consistently answer their phone are 3 times more likely to get repeat customers. I don't think I said that one.
No, you
That's an
didn't.
interesting one, you know?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Um, I mean, I think it's accurate. Um, Specifically for obviously the dog training market. I think it's definitely accurate.
Yeah.
Whether it's people signing up initially, getting another dog and sending that dog through training, or wanting continued training, or referring you out. Um, yeah, I definitely agree with that one.
Yeah, I think it's definitely very accurate, because I think the people that are going to refer you and become repeat customers are the people that are really blown away by the experience that you give them.
Hmm.
And if the experience starts off on the wrong foot, whether it's conscious or subconscious, that's always going to stick with them. That like your first interaction with that company was poor communication, you know,
Yeah.
versus they call the interaction as, oh my gosh, I didn't expect anybody to answer the phone. And they can get right out to me for a consultation, and they can, yeah, hey, you can take my dog and this week to start training and stuff like that. That is the type of person who's going to be like, this was the most mind-blowing experience I've ever had. And just it fully surpassed what my expectations were before I even called. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so we'll only go through a couple more of these because we can keep going. There's like 5,000 of these here. So let's see if there's any more here. Okay, 78% of customers will choose the business that answers first. So it's kind of like a race to whoever can get to the customer first. And I've experienced that too. Same thing we were talking about before. Hey, I talked to somebody else. I'll keep you posted if I need your help, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you have every opportunity that you have with, or every conversation that you have with the client is an opportunity to make a good impression. And so that first phone call, when someone calls you and you answer it, like you're taking the first opportunity. You're not having to wait until like, oh, let me call them back and, try to win them back kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
just take the first opportunity, answer the phone. That's the first good impression that you can leave on them, is good communication and being proactive with all of your potential clients.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I'm just going to read through these. And then the next one I want to talk about and get your opinion on is the impact of poor call handling. Businesses that answer their phone and follow up promptly see a 35% higher conversion rate. 90% of customers expect small businesses to provide personalized service. All right, so let's talk about this one. 86% of customers will stop doing business with a company after two bad phone experiences. Not answering or providing poor service can be a deal breaker.
Yeah. So I feel like I feel like we could go so many different directions with this one. Um, Wait, what was the first part of that statistic?
86% of customers will stop doing business with a company after two bad phone experiences.
Yeah, well, okay, so again, going back to like things that I've dealt with any businesses, number one, I don't like calling places when I'm looking for a service and they don't answer, but especially if
Yep.
I call, more than once. But I think everyone can agree to this as well. Like when you're dealing with a business, especially when it's like one of those like phone tag situations, always playing phone tag or like calling for a service, especially with dog training prices, or what your prices should be. And like there's such big prices, and then their dogs are so important to them, they're family members. So the absolute least you could do for them is give them a good conversation and make them feel
Yeah.
comfortable going with you. That's even before the consultation. You could have like the best conversation with them on the phone, and that still should not replace the consultation of like getting face to face with them and having, that more personal experience. But
Yep.
someone who I think, will or you talk to and you take the time to really like have a conversation with them instead of it being like rushed or like here's some information, think about it and let me know. But like giving them the time of day, making them feel like, you want to help them. It goes such a long way. And again, that's even
Yeah.
before the consultation itself. It's such a good opportunity to set a really good impression for yourself.
Yeah, 100%. The next thing here is 18%, only 18% of people leave voicemails. 75% of voicemails are never listened to. So I
Yeah,
think that's like, I mean, actually, you know what I was gonna say? I don't know. I don't know about the 75% of voicemails. I hate voicemails. I don't really like love listening to them. I'm like, this could have been a text, you know what I mean? Or a
yeah.
voice memo or something like that. But I definitely think that that seems right. 18% of people leave voicemails, especially if you just have one of those like robo messages that's like, you've reached this number. It's like
Hmm.
they don't even know if they got the right number. It's like
Yeah.
they could be leaving a message about getting their dog trained and they're just talking to some random person.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and earlier you said too, like, I don't know, remember what the percentage was, but most people will hang up if the call isn't answered within like 3 rings. So they're not going
yeah,
to wait for a million rings to then leave a voicemail when they're eventually just going to call the next person on the list.
exactly. That's exactly right. Like it doesn't even, it's usually like you get to the point where it just keeps ringing. You're like, I'm hanging up. I don't even know if, because I've called places and I don't even know if I'm ever going to reach a voicemail because I've had that happen too, where it just keeps ringing. It'll ring a
Yeah.
hundred times. That's always frustrating as well. All right. So here's the last thing. Missed calls lead to 20 to 30% lower customer lifetime value. Customers who struggle to reach you are less likely to stay loyal. So I heard somebody talking about this one time too, that you can have customers that work with you and they pay you money and they're not impressed by you. And that's a really interesting thing. It's easy to fall into the trap of like they paid me money. They must be happy, or they must have had a good experience. But there's a lot of businesses out there where you hire a handyman to come and fix something in your house and somebody's like, "Oh yeah, how was that? Would you recommend them?" Not really. He was okay.
Yeah.
Like that's not how you want people talking about your business. And
Yeah.
not everyone's going to be happy. I understand that. I'm sure we've had our fair share of that as well. Every business deals with that. Sometimes it's just not a good fit. But the point is like, I think that the main takeaway I really want to people to get from this is two things. First and foremost, not answering your phone, completely inexcusable, right? Like that is just so obvious. And I said this to you before this call. When I need to like talk to people about that and try and convince them of the importance of answering your phone, sometimes I just kind of go like, I can't believe we're even having this conversation, right? I just even laugh and think about it, like, imagine sitting down with Mark Cuban or Jeff Bezos and trying to rationalize to one of these guys why you don't answer your customers when they call you. They would probably burst out laughing in my face if I tried to do that with them. They'd be like, bro, you cannot be serious with this, right? That's the
Mhm.
first thing. Second thing, I do not remember the second thing. I totally lost my train of thought there. But what I was going to say is like, you don't want, that's what it was. You don't want to be the company where people have an experience with you and they don't want to refer you because they don't want to, like, what they're effectively saying there is, I went through this, I wasn't impressed by it, and I don't want to like put my name on the line by giving my neighbor or my sister or my friend your information and then being like, who the hell did you refer to me here to? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we've talked about this before, like same situation, but maybe reversed, where like we have like us personally have gone with a company for a service because of their customer service, because
Yeah.
their customer service was so good, because they, were such a great person. They were very, they communicated really well. And it's like their prices might have been more expensive than maybe the previous company that we talked to, but ultimately we went with them because they had such good customer service.
Yeah.
Same thing, but you could train someone's dog and help them reach these goals. But again, it could be the same thing where they're like, well, I mean, the training was really good, but they're just really unreliable. Like customer service was okay.
Yeah.
Even like business aside, or even like hiring services, all of that aside, even personal relationships, friends, family, and stuff like that. I've been in this situation too where I might not tell someone about a certain opportunity or refer them just because I know that they're unreliable, and I'm trying to make this make sense.
I know what you're saying.
I don't
Yeah.
want to I don't want to refer someone like even that I know when that person might be unreliable, because that's going to reflect on me. Same thing with referring businesses. I don't want to refer someone to this business because yeah, the training might be good, but they're so unreliable. Customer service is not great, and I don't want that to reflect on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's all relationships. You know what I mean? Like if you feel
Yeah.
like you can't rely on people in life, like you're going to call them, they're not going to answer, they said they're going to do things they're not going to do. That's just always frustrating. And so just think about that through the lens of your own business and make the decision of, who do I want to be? How do I want people to think about me? Do I want to be the person that people are like, it was okay, but their communication was not there and I can never really get a hold of them? Or you know, every time I called them, they were there or they got right back to me. And if they missed the call, they texted me and there was clear communication every single time. I know who
Yeah.
I want to be, and it's hard to achieve. I was talking to one of our clients, Jessica, about this the other day, and I was like, I heard some version of this somewhere, and it always stuck with me, but something along the lines of like, um, business is not business is simple, but it's not easy, right? It's simple in theory that like, yeah, I should answer my phone when customer call me. That's an obvious thing. You know what I mean? But it's not easy to execute on every single day. And that's usually why the businesses that become the million-dollar companies, the multi-million-dollar companies, why they win is because they're able to have systems and processes in place that tackle the hard things that other people can't do. So do the shit that other people can't do and you'll win. That's really
Yep.
the bottom line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, cool. So I can officially get off my soapbox now. I just wanted to talk about this because I saw we also posted in our group a couple weeks ago, was like what was one of the hardest lessons that you learned in your business in the last year. And somebody posted in there that it really matters and it is extremely important to answer my phone. And this is somebody that I remember talking to and heard all these, years ago, and having him kind of like voice all the same excuses that everyone has, which is like, it's hard to answer my phone. But it was just really interesting to hear from him and see that he was like, I've just come full circle on this and realized that this is like the most important thing in my business. This is equally as important as dedicating myself to becoming the best dog trainer, is dedicating myself to, giving the best customer experience possible. That's how this business is going to grow and survive. So with
Yeah.
that being said, Angel, is there anything else you want to leave us with?
No, I think I've put in my 2 cents into all of this for now.
All right, very good. Well, listen, I'm glad you're back, and I'm glad that we can get going again on these podcasts and stuff because I know a lot of people have given us really good feedback about them. So, with that being said, we're going to wrap it up here for today. But if you guys have any topics you really want us to cover and go more in depth, if you like this style where we kind of go over things more from an analytical lens, or if you like the more philosophical style discussions, just give us some feedback. Let us know what you like, and we can create some more content around that. But with that being said, we're going to wrap it up here. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys very soon in the next one. See you
Bye,
guys.
guys.